And Spurs' busy summer continues as they made their sixth deal of the window earlier this week with Jed Spence, the 21-year-old right-back, joining from Middlesbrough for a fee of around about £20 million with add-ons. Antonio Conte admitted that Jed Spence was a club signing rather than his own, but he went on to say he's a very good player in the interview, and he said that he gave the green light to the deal. How important is it, Lucy, that the manager or the head coach has the final say on transfers at the football club?
I think it's really important, but I think it's quite an old-fashioned view, because I think now in football, the technical director, the recruitment is done as a collaboration. But I think that you've got to, because it's the manager who picks the players, so he has to have trust in the signings. But he's really savvy, Conte. So I think if the signing doesn't work of Spence, and it is a leap into the Premier League, and there has been murmurings about, he was shoved away from Middlesbrough to Forest because Neil Warnock didn't want him, and then he flourished at Forest, and Steve Cooper's quite an empathetic manager, and I think that helps. If the signing works, then Conte has done a brilliant job as a coach. If it doesn't work, then it's a club signing, so it's win-win.
He says about the transfers that they've done some good business. Perisic, experienced player. Forster's a backup goalkeeper. Yves Bissouma from Brighton. Richarlison. Clement Longuet, experienced defender from Barcelona. We've improved, for sure we've improved. That's normal. When you go into the transfer market, you try not to waste money. But if you decide to invest money, and I think up until now we invested the right money, many people said to me they were surprised by the timing, but the vision is clear, and when the vision is clear, I feel confident, and I go to train to try and improve the team and squad. Fabio Paratici is helping a lot with this situation, so he's praising this sporting director. We're working very well, but it's important to know that we need a bit of patience.
Yeah, he also laughed when he was asked by a journalist during the pre-season tour if Tottenham could be considered title contenders this season. I think as well as they did towards the back end of last season, there's still a seismic gap to make up on Manchester City and Liverpool, but they've got their business done early. I think the main focus now for Tottenham is on removing players from the wage bill. There are probably 6 or 7 players they'd like to shift on. That will be easier in some cases
is one of those,
than others.
Harry Winks,
Reguilon, Tanganga we spoke about the other day, possible loan move to AC Milan. I wonder if Joe Rodon may be allowed to go out on loan in a World Cup year as well and play some football. But the big two obviously are Lo Celso and Ndombele. I think they've set a price tag of £20 million for Lo Celso. There's interest from Spain. And Ndombele may be more difficult because I think he was a record signing. He's on huge money, second only to Harry Kane. So it may be that they have to pay him a percentage of his wages basically to go and play for somebody else. That's been a transfer that just hasn't worked out at all.
What's a fair aim for Spurs this season? They won't win the league, but are they the best of the rest if you exclude Liverpool and Manchester City?
Yeah, I think that, I love Conte. I think he has. And this is the first, I think when he came into Spurs, it's the first time for a long time he'd gone in halfway through a season. He usually goes in where he's got a clear run of pre-season. He brings the players in that he wants. And you could see the effect of him after a few games at Spurs. And I think they've finished off positively. Harry Kane now looks like he's desperate to stay and be part of it. And the signings are very, very good. And I think that combination with Conte, I think they'll be a threat this season. I really do.
It does. Obviously people say, but Chelsea have signed Raheem Sterling, they've signed Jules Koundé, or they will do. They've signed Koulibaly. They were third last season. But do you just get the feeling that the momentum is with Spurs and they're going to be the toughest challengers for Chelsea to try and hold off?
Yeah, I have felt that for a while, but all I would say is that in both cases they're bringing in a lot of players. Obviously Chelsea may be taking a bit more time over their deals, but there will be several more arrivals at Stamford Bridge. Same can be said for Manchester United. Arsenal are bringing in a number of new recruits as well.
So you think all 4 of those teams are competing for a place in the top 4, you think, by the end of the season?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think Liverpool and Man City should be cemented, and then I think the other 2 places are between those 4 clubs. There's such a gap now between the top 6. Even when United had a poor season, they still managed to limp into the top 6. That shows how much work the likes of West Ham have got to do to make up that gap.
It's quite discouraging for those clubs, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is, because that was the year when it was there for the taking and nobody really came out of the pack. But what I was going to say is it might just come down to who gels quicker with those new signings, because it's a strange pre-season this time because the Premier League starts a lot earlier. You've got the gap for the World Cup. I think a fast start for all of those teams is important. If you start the season bad, if you're a bit undercooked, you could quickly find yourself behind the rest.
It's a long season as well, because I was looking at the calendar for next year. The FA Cup final is in the first week of June next year. Yeah. So it's almost like an 11-month season.
It's not stopped, has it? Anyway, it just doesn't feel like it's stopped. I think that it's all action right from the start, because obviously the break for the World Cup as well, so they're having to squeeze the European rounds, early rounds in as well, and that will have an effect, and that's why the 5 subs, that we've not talked about, that is obviously means that the squads need to be stronger and bigger, and obviously will benefit those bigger clubs as well.
Lots of talk from the Italian just about how good Liverpool and City are, making up huge gaps, taking time. He said that when he was the Inter boss, he went into a team that were behind Juventus by 20 points every single year. They reduced the gap in the first year and then beat them in the second. Maybe just giving a little hint that you might need a little bit of patience, Tottenham fans, before they start even thinking about challenging for the title.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.